Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from the Big Island of Hawaii, Fairyland in the fairy cabin today. Hooray! Thank you for joining. So to start off with, I have a question from a sweetie. Here it is right here. Okay. I was born and raised in Hawaii, and it seems like the violence is escalating. I used to feel safe, but lately I've been scared to go out at night. Do you think I'm a little paranoid? What are your thoughts on this subject? Okay, so basically, whatever we focus on grows in our experience. So here's the thing. If we hear about violence and then take it as if the world is violent, you know, then it's going to appear more and more like that in our perception because that's a taking on a belief. See? So it appears more and more like that in the perception. Also, whenever anyone comes up to you and they want to beat your ass, that's a play of energy. That's a total play of energy. You have dominion over that. Okay? If someone comes up and they have an energy of, I want to beat your ass, you are also perceiving them in a particular way. There's no way they can be showing up that way unless you're projecting them in that way. So in the moment, and this has been my experience too, when someone seems to be coming at me with that kind of energy, if it's accepted that that's really a projection, then there's no need to buy into it. There's no need to buy into that projection about who they are. Obviously, I must not be seeing them clearly, you know. And when it's noticed that I'm not seeing something clearly or someone clearly, there's a relaxation. It's me. It's only me. No one can do anything without my authority. It's impossible. The world is a play of perception. It's the effect of belief. It's the past playing out. So something is playing out. A pattern is playing out. Maybe a pattern of violence is playing out. I don't have to accept that as real. I don't have to look at them as if they're separate from me and violent and coming up to me in a violent way. It's just not taken like that. Because it's known that, it's accepted that. That's me. It can't happen without being completely under my authority. Okay? So then there's no reason to be afraid of anyone, suspicious of anyone. See? It's all us. Lori has raised her hand. Yay. Unmute. Yes. Yay. There we are.
Okay, last week, this very thing happened. I was in our neighborhood with a girlfriend walking, and it was a beautiful day, and the trees were all colored, and there was this barn in this person's backyard that I'd never even noticed before. My girlfriend's like, oh, what a beautiful picture. So we went into the driveway and then kind of on the lawn and started taking pictures of the barn with which Phoebe told me I had very good composition on that, by the way. Anyway, the woman came out with aggressive, I could feel it was like not spoken, but I could feel what the fuck are you doing in my,
Yeah.
But I don't know how Nicole and I just worked into, I don't know what dissipated it, but she ended up telling us all kinds of, you could see her just deflating, and she coming back and explaining to us that they're going to be tearing down that building and they're going to use the wood to make hardwood floors upstairs. It's a 100-year-old building. And we were all like, what? That's awesome. And It just completely changed. But the way she walked up to us was not that energy at all.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
don't. So what happened? I don't.
It's like it's like you're just not accepting that temptation to see them in that way,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, it registered as she's not happy with us. It
Sure.
registered, but that's not how we played it out. We started talking to her in a normal, you know,
Yeah.
she said that her.
That's not who she is, you know. That's a misperception. That she's unhappy with you is a misperception.
Okay.
See?
Okay. So,
It's like so it's like if you don't accept that misperception as the truth, then you don't have to treat it as if it's some kind of thing where you have to be defensive.
or to have it play out as a, yeah,
Yeah.
as a negative.
Yeah, so
Okay.
if you put up a defense, then it plays out a different way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. Yeah. It would have been head to head. Yeah.
One of my friends yesterday put it looking with Jesus's eyes. Looking
Mm,
through Jesus's eyes at them. You know what I mean? He was talking about
mm,
how he used to get in fights all the time. People would just want to come up and pick fights with him, and he doesn't have to play that anymore. He just doesn't have
mm.
to play that anymore. Isn't
Yeah.
that nice?
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just weird that you brought this up and that just happened literally less than a week ago.
isn't that fun?
Yeah, it really is fun. And I talked with my girlfriend about it at the time because we both, after we left, we felt the same way when she came up to us. And then it just dissipated with talking with her.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to
That
share that.
calmness, that calmness, the peace transfers over.
Yeah,
It's
you
one
come up
mind.
against it.
We feel each other.
Mm,
So even while
mm.
she's walking up there, you know, the energy is working. The energy is working on it, you know, changing, like the two energy vibrations come together and they change each other.
Oh, that's cool to think about.
Yeah, it's all part of the illusion, you know. It's all part of the illusion. Even energy is an illusion.
Mm.
Yeah. It's just that it's just, you know, as the perception gets clearer, kind of gets purified, you know, the perception gets purified, the energy vibration is lighter and lighter in the dream, you know,
Mm.
even in the imagination. The energy is just, it's not so dense.
Right. So there's no
Yeah,
reason to
yeah,
react to defend. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, it's like, all right, I'm gonna turn your mic off again, Lori. I love you.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
love it too. Bye.
So, you know, the question, do you think I'm a little paranoid? You know, if you're asking that question, that's basically you think you're a little paranoid. Okay? There's you are not anything that can change. You're not anything that can be paranoid, okay? It's like the what what is paranoid is an idea. Okay? So if there's a thought that says, "Am I paranoid?" That's a paranoid thought. That doesn't mean anything. It's a thought that's paranoid that you might be paranoid. And it just really doesn't mean anything. There's no need to take that thing personally. All right. Okay, what are your thoughts on the subject? I think we went over that. I also struggle with low self-esteem, more like I lost confidence in myself. Okay, so that kind of confidence, you know, it comes up to be lost. It's only a passing thing. That kind of confidence that you're talking about. Uh, the confidence in who you are doesn't get lost. You know, you might forget it for a little while, but it's like it's always there. It's always there. It's right here. It's right here. Okay. Whatever thoughts seem to take you out of it, out of who you are, just relax right here. Just relax in the heart. Okay? You can't lose yourself. So a sensation like you lost your self-confidence, an idea like you lost your self-confidence, that's just a reflection of the idea that you lost yourself, that you're separate, that you have to rely on yourself as a separate individual. You can rely on yourself, but not as a separate individual. You can totally rely on yourself because everything comes out of yourself. You can trust yourself that you can relax right now, relax in your heart right now, and everything's working out. Okay? There's no future. There's only this now moment, kind of like unfolding, coming again and again. Okay? So if there seems like there's something that you have to hurry up and do, or that something is wrong, the world has become violent. That one. There's no world, that's the thing. There's no world. What's become violent is thought. Thoughts. And they can't do anything. They have no power without our believing in them. Just when they cross the mind. I'm struggling with low self-esteem. All that is a thought. Believed and believed again and believed again and believed again. Okay? It's just saying that you're not who you are. You are everything and you have everything. You are everyone. Everyone has everything. No one can take anything from anyone. It's not possible. Tell me how I can work on self-esteem. Well, the question, the way you put it, it seems to me that you think you would have to work on something. And it's kind of not working on anything. You could say it's a focusing, because normally what's happening is going to sleep in these patterns, in a mind pattern that says I have to work on something to better myself. And that's really what leads to this low self-esteem. I have to work on something to better myself. That thought. And the body is just a perceiving organism. It's a perceiving organism. It's totally projected by the mind, and everything that it does is like magic. You don't do it. You don't do it. It's a play of consciousness. Every perception is a play of consciousness. Every person, place, thing, circumstance, it's a play of consciousness. There's no one doing anything. There's no one to do anything. It seems like it's a very convincing illusion that we're doing something, but we're not really doing anything. It's more like we're watching a movie. Okay? And that's not like and that's not like a paradox or something that I'm saying here. Okay, like scientifically, these bodies are blinking in and out of existence really fast, but you can't catch it with a human eye. That's everything material too. It's a projection, quite literally. It's not. It's a projection, and it's all one projection. it just comes out of consciousness. No one does it. No one does it. Look how we're conditioned to believe that someone does things. The conditioning says that someone can do something. Like there's violent people in the world. Can't be. It can't be. It's not like that. It's a projection. So that means that we have power over that. We have power over that. Because that uncomfortable sensation that arises in our body in response to violence, whether it be perceiving a violence happening to another person or a violent situation where someone seems to be violent toward us. It's an uncomfortable sensation that arises in the body. There's an uncomfortable sensation, a not wanting that. And if there could be a willingness to let that sensation be as it is. It's like spread out through all the cells, feeling it deeply. And not believing, most importantly, you won't be able to feel very much unless you're not believing a thought that says that something caused that uncomfortable feeling. Like even if you just got your ass kicked, those guys that kicked your ass, they did not cause it. It's not possible for that to happen. That's like an illusion affecting another illusion. It's not possible. We're not an illusion. It's a play of consciousness. So when the thought arises, it says that person did something to me. That's an uncomfortable feeling in the body. That's a habit. That's why this keeps going on, no matter what people try to do. Build jails, do all different kinds of things, try to make it all safe for people. The violence will continue as long as we're, being violent in a sense with ourselves. Because this uncomfortable feeling is not allowed to be met with compassion so long as there's a projection. There's a little bit of a release of tension with the projecting, because that feeling is really an intense feeling of guilt. Okay? It's an intense feeling of guilt. To project it as if that person did it to me, that's to get rid of it. See? Only temporarily, though. Only in the perception temporarily. It really doesn't go anywhere. In fact, it builds up. It builds up some more. So how does it dissolve? It's like, all I could say is it's love. It's just love. It comes also in a form of forgiveness. Not forgiveness like, oh, it's okay that you did that for me. But forgiveness like nothing happened. Nothing happened. Because as long as we're holding anyone in let's say, negative light, okay, that's exactly how we feel about ourselves. That's exactly how we're made to feel about ourselves. And that's exactly how the world is going to represent itself to us. Okay? I notice quickly, like if I feel guilty, if I feel a guilty feeling like I haven't done something well enough, all of a sudden I'll perceive that my husband is telling me that I'm not doing well enough. I have that perception. It's very interesting because it's not coming from him. It's just a reflection of that feeling. It's instant manifestation. Just an instant reflection of that feeling. So then when it comes up and it shows to me like that, you know, maybe I wasn't conscious of it. Maybe I didn't see it in the moment that it just passed as a thought. So then it showed it to me through a form. And then once it showed it to me through a form, it's like, oh, of course that's not true. See? So it doesn't hold the other person responsible for, hey, why are you trying to make me feel guilty? Huh? Or maybe you might say, it seems like you're saying this. Is that what you mean? It seems like you're saying I'm not doing it right. Is that what you mean? Whatever you say, you're talking to yourself. It's fun. I asked my husband that stuff, and he always says, "No, of course not. That's not what I mean." And that's totally reflected back. Although the perception at first, the way I see his face and everything, it sure does seem to me like that's what he means. That's a perception. So if it wasn't communicated, I might take it like that. I might give him a cold shoulder and feel all huffy and disappointed. See? So you just see that it's you talking to you and that it's for fun. Are we ever going to meet that man of yours? Oh, that sounds fun. We'll see. All right. So, what else do we have to talk about today? Let's see. I don't see any other questions now. Do you have a question now, Bob?
Well, yeah, because yesterday we had talked about this Me Too movement.
Me Too. Okay.
Yeah,
The Me
yeah.
Too movement.
Right. So people are coming out with their pain and their shame that they've hidden all their lives about sexual abuse.
Okay, cool.
And so they feel it's a very healing thing to come out with something that they've hidden, and other people can come out and share, and it's very therapeutic for people and positive. But then you were saying yesterday, we brought this up, that it could lead to victim consciousness.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, what Bob is talking about is the Me Too movement. Okay, as far as just coming out and saying Me Too, I've been through all this kind of stuff and things like that. And you know, Bob was asking me what I think about that. And you know, here's the thing. I think it's awesome. Okay, because for one thing, like, you know, when I was a kid, it seemed like if you said anything like that to anyone, that you were all of a sudden a total like leper and people don't want to hang out with you. Like, I tell little kid friends and stuff, they go, like, don't tell that to anyone else. I don't want to be hanging out with you and stuff like that. So just watching that and watching that whole thing, you know, it's lovely that people can people can talk about whatever it is that they feel to talk about. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it is that they feel to talk about, they just like let it out. That's beautiful, you know. I was sharing yesterday on the in person, I call it in person wisdom dialogues. I don't know what to say. In person wisdom dialogues. I said, you know, I wrote something to myself. I didn't post it because I knew the energy was just like, woo, you know, like kind of like one of these kind of energies. I could just sense like a lot of conflict going on back and forth in posts and stuff like that. And so I just wrote it to myself, and it was kind of like, I don't know it verbatim, but it was kind of like, me too. When I believed the world to be real, I convinced myself and others that I was a victim and that the person who attacked me was undeserving of love. You know, and that's kind of the way that's just the way I see it. from my perspective. However anyone wants to express it is fine, you know. People go through different stages, I notice. There's the keeping it down, not talking about it, pretending like it didn't happen. There's the letting it out and feeling that anger. And then, you know, I'm sure there's a bunch of other steps too. Eventually, it's wow, thank you, brother. Thank you. I love you. You know. It's just there's nothing happened. Nothing happened. That's the thing. It doesn't matter if I was a kid. Doesn't matter. That part does not matter. That's only that's only on the surface, on the very, very surface of things. We are all like children. We are all like children. We try to make ourselves like adults by taking on a bunch of concepts, but we are all just like children. And it's all innocent. Even if it's murder, even if it's rape, whatever it is, it's an innocent play. It's kind of like babies cutting each other. You know, it's like there's just a total disconnection or feeling of disconnection, because there's never a disconnection in reality. The connection is never severed. It's never gone. It's never going to be gone. Okay, it's almost like it's choked off. Let's say like that, with belief. It's choked off with belief. It's like, oh my God, I have nowhere else to run. All I can do is like brutalize someone, you know? And you know, I could tell from my own experience, I've been there. I've been there, as in feeling those violent feelings that were arising in my body, watching the violent thoughts that were unconsciously just being taken as true, that made me feel as if I wanted to murder someone. I would have a vision of it. I would have a vision of that. It seemed like that would make me feel better than I felt right then. You know, it was almost like a battle. It was like there was this thing that felt like, wow, that's like this fantasy of like that, you know, and feeling, number one, wow, what a relief that would be, how wonderful that would be to get that relief, and also like a lot of guilt for even thinking about that, you know, and just feeling with all of those sensations and the forgiveness that comes through that. It changes everything. It just changes everything. So, you know, this, what I share at Wisdom Dialogues, it's for people who are ready. Okay? When people are ready, their consciousness the consciousness leads them to it. Whatever, you know, their everyone's consciousness is leading to them to exactly the experiences they need to have. So for anyone who thinks that someone isn't doing it right, as in the Me Too thing isn't going right, they didn't do it right, that's for you. That's for you. Because that's a reflection of guilty consciousness. There's lots of different ways to make people wrong. There's lots of different sneaky, tricky ways to make someone deficient. Don't fall for it. Everyone is in exactly the right place, receiving exactly the right information, whatever they need to receive. It's all perfect. It's all going awesome. And thank you to everyone who has come out with the Me Too and your stories, and I appreciate you, and I love you, and I see you. Mwah. Yay.
Yeah, but you had made a point
but
yesterday about how if people have these traumatizing sexual violations and they feel that they're a victim, that if they don't clear that, then they're open to attracting more of the same victimizing experiences.
That's one way to put it. Okay. Okay, so basically what Bob is talking about is that as long as we feel as if we are a victim, yes, it's true. As long as we feel as if we are a victim, we are projecting that victimhood. We're going to see evidence of it. We're going to see evidence of it. So, you know, and that's obvious for a lot of us. It's not obvious for all of us. And it doesn't have to be obvious for all of us. You know, it will be. You know, there's not a doubt about that. But it's everyone along their own path, let's say. Okay? Which is also an illusion, but it's respect for wherever they are, whatever they're learning, whatever experience they're having. So yes, it's true that as long as there's holding on to victim mentality, more victim perceptions are going to be had. That's just the way it is. It's kind of like math. And then at the same time, nothing's wrong with it. All of these experiences are divinely guided, you could say. They're guided by you. They're guided by you, not from this level of perception though. Molly, I put your mic on.
Aloha.
Hooray! Aloha, Molly.
How's it?
Woo!
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome.
So my perception of that Me Too
Yes.
thing
Yes.
is that someone or something, there's a mode that is keeping us divided.
Okay.
And, you know, I have a lot of like thoughts around these games that are sort of being played on the common people, and these games that are being played, and it's all good. It actually doesn't really matter to me that much. But I am sort of having these thoughts around the world and the powers that be and all of that kind of stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Yeah, so you see the different you see the patterns of the world coming up. You know, one of them is the perception of the Me Too thing. You know, that's one of them. You know, as if some divide between people is out there. You see, it's just a divide. It's just a divide in the mind right now. That's all it is. It's something that doesn't want to accept. See, it wants to say, yeah, but that's doing this, and it's like everything is playing out awesome.
It's all play.
It's all play.
Uh-huh.
It is. It's all playing out so awesome. And, you know, for me, like I could say at a time, you know, I just needed to say what happened from my perception that I had right there, that I was a victim. I just needed to say that to even get to the next step. Because otherwise I'm fighting it. So to see all those people, are these people that haven't talked about it their whole lives and now they're talking about it right now, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. What?
It actually can't do any harm.
Right? Right. It can't do any harm. Exactly.
So why am I so defensive around, like, respecting the man, the divine masculine, you know, and
It's not that. It's just a habit. You
what
know, it's just a habit to feel like that.
feel like what?
What that feeling is.
Mm,
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
a habit to feel like that. So it's a self-importance thing. I get the same thing. That's why I know I could talk about it.
Is it almost like I know better kind
Yes.
of thing?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I used to believe
Arrogant.
I used to believe I knew better too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard because then because then like everything's an argument.
And when you're around people who like really like to talk, you know, talk about everything, like hermetic science and the world and politics and conspiracy and everything in between, and
Yeah.
you just kind of watch it all, like
Yeah. I find a lot of comedy in it. It's fun for me.
it's just like in listening, like talk story, just
Yeah. Yeah.
so, and just don't take any of it too
I just,
seriously.
yeah, I have one friend. I have one friend that is a really funny one. She's next door neighbor, and I came over there, and she told me this story. She had the saddest look come over her face about how her real estate agent, her husband died, and how that was the love of her life, and she just had this sad look, and I started laughing, and she goes, "You are so peculiar." She started laughing too. She goes, "You laugh at the most inappropriate times." Because you can't lose a loved one like that. It's not like that. The sad story is a story. And then it's like a twice removed story because now she's telling someone else's story about it to me so that I can then get a sad reaction. It's just humorous.
So, if I have a different experience, like with my past, and you know, back to that Me Too thing, if
Yeah.
I've had a more healing experience with all of it, and don't, and whatever, I'm not in that place. It's just that self-importance then that's coming in, or
Yeah.
just like with anything of anybody saying this or that about the world, and like the thoughts that come up and say, "Oh no, I know
Yeah.
better."
Like I've seen images of myself like slapping people and being like, "Wake up, bitch."
Yeah, yeah,
And that's it. That's just the ego.
and so you just watch, you just see that and laugh,
Yes.
and that's it.
You see, look at the play of energy. So the real estate agent tells a sad story. And then my neighbor catches on to that sad story. It's like this pattern, and then she's trying to give it to me, and
Hmm.
I'm like, nope, I don't accept that gift.
Yeah,
See?
yeah. I kinda see.
Yeah. So it's like, there's times too. Like I've been talking with my sister-in-law, and she's going through a challenging time. She's like, having a telephone conversation. She's like telling me, wow, Hope, I'm really struggling. The laughing didn't come up to that. It's just like, oh, I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about, and with that connection, then she can start, then there's an opening there for her to start asking me, like, what can you do? Basically, what can you do? And then we start having a conversation about that. See? However it's going to come out, it's going to come out, you know. It's not like, if we're comfortable with it, then in our own body, we're comfortable in our own body, it's going to bring comfort in whatever way it does. For my neighbor, it was laughing. She just couldn't help but start laughing too. You know, that probably wouldn't have been the same effect if it to just bust it out right there with my sister-in-law at that time. You know, but I don't have to think about it ahead of time. All I have to do is be comfortable inside of my own being. Isn't that nice? Because then the comfort is what's shared. Because our minds aren't separate. We're not separate at all. So the comfort is what's shared. That's why we don't have to go, oh, what should I do in this situation? You know, that's hard to try to know what you should do in situations. That's like work. And it makes you tense. And then when you show up and people can feel your tension, and what good is that? See?
So whenever there's thoughts of like, you know, oh, this or that, you just watch it just go, oh, that again, and just like take a moment and feel it.
Yeah, well, even oh, that again is a thought. It's all passing by like ticker tape. So it's like keep on taking a step back, because even the thought that talks about the thought, that's just a thought. And in the feeling, the thought's allowed to pass. You know, when the focus is in the feeling, it does. And you know, it could be anything for anyone. It doesn't necessarily have to be feeling. You know, you could experiment with different things. You could open up your sight. You know, it's like when there's a tense feeling, a thought with a tense feeling, there's a narrowing down of even the eyesight. You could just like relax and defocus the attention and take in all of the sight, the whole peripheral of the sight, or take in everything that can be heard right now. You see? It's just that thought wants your attention because that's life. Your attention can go to anything. Your attention can go to all the sounds. Your attention can go to how your clothes feel on your body. Your attention can go to the tip of your nose or the tip of your tongue or anything like that. I mean, it's basically keeping the mind just focused on what's being perceived. That's what's happening right now. This body is perceiving. It's interpreting information, and through that interpretation of information, consciousness is moving it and changing. Everything's moving. You know, everything's in a constant motion. It is rad, Gail. It's rad. That's right. So there's no one to try to stop the thoughts or anything like that. It's just you know, the focus of attention is something that is ours. And we could stay focused. Like I said last week, this one Bible verse always comes back to me, every day, several times a day. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is set on thee. I said that one last week too. And it's just like, this is the experience right now, this perceiving body. What is this perceiving body taking in? The thoughts, that's like a narrative. That's like an interpretation that's removed from the actual experience. Okay? The experience is anything that you can sense through the 5 senses. That's the information that's being interpreted. That's the ride. Whatever can be sensed. Okay? It's all for fun. And it's rad.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. I love you, Molly. Aloha.
Love you. Aloha.
Another thing we were talking about is, even things that would be considered like acts of God, like say the lava flowing or those fires over there in California and stuff like that. Also the same opportunities as far as this feeling of victimization, this feeling of victimization comes up for the other people. Any kind of sadness, it seems like it's for other people. It's not. It's sadness for ourselves. The sadness comes up within ourselves. It's asking for compassion. That heals everything. That's good for everything. Okay? And irrespective of anything you seem to do on the surface, whether that's helping by sending money or anything, whatever you seem to do. Remember, you only seem to do. That's consciousness playing out. What's of utmost importance, and if you make this the priority, life is very, very simple, is just taking care of this feeling of sadness. Oh, that's sad. There's no that sad because there's no world. Truer would be I feel sadness, or there's sadness. There's sadness. Let's have compassion for sadness whenever it arises. It's okay. It's okay to feel sad. We don't need to project sadness onto other people. That was just the trigger. That was only the trigger. That's not the cause of the sadness. The sadness was already there. Because the sadness is there, it needs triggers. Okay? It needs more things to be sad about. That's how it lives. It needs more things to be sad about. So when sadness comes, let sadness be there. Don't buy into the idea that something caused it, even if it was a fire, even if it was lava, even if it was a death, even if it was a paralyzation, whatever. That's not really the cause of the upset feeling right now. And if the upset feeling is taken care of right here, right now, everything on the surface can take care of itself. And it'll work out fine. It'll work out easier and smoother and lighter than if there was this interference with there's a person that has to do something about it. Okay, I have a question. Aloha. Let's see. Oh, here it is. I was thinking about the people. Thank you. You're beautiful. I love you. I was thinking about the people that are doing and giving for these causes. I live in Miami Beach, and many people are raising money, etc. What is that all about? It's about them. I was thinking this before you mentioned it, a few seconds. Oh, sweet. Yeah, whatever comes up that our bodies seem to be doing, it's meaningless. It's a play of consciousness. So that's something, raising money, all this different stuff, that's a play of consciousness. Whatever it is, helping people, okay, it's great, it's lovely, and no one's doing it. That's the thing. No one is doing it. People think they're doing it, and then they take credit for it. Okay? Maybe they use it to make themselves feel a little bit less guilty. There's nothing wrong with doing it. There's no problem with doing it. The only thing that causes an illusion of problems is thinking that we're capable of doing, as in we did it or we should do it. There's also a lot of I should be doing something to help for people, and especially people who see other people doing something to help. Look at all the helping they're doing. You can't see the help that's real. You cannot see it. Love takes no form, but you know when it happens. You know when it happens. There's an immediate shift in the energy field, and everything is okay. There's an immediate shift. And this can happen all day long. It's really beautiful. It's orgasmic. Okay? It's really lovely. An uncomfortable feeling comes up. Oh, I just heard about a murder or whatever it was. Oh, feeling it. the relief that comes, the comfort that comes, safety, all of that, it's all just so beautiful. It's endless. It's endless. There's no words to describe it, and doesn't come in the form of doing something. It could be accompanied with doing something, but not as an individual. Let's say it could be accompanied with the perception of doing. Say I have the perception of sending money online to fire people who don't have a house anymore, right? Say I get into sending some money online like that. If I think that that is giving something as an individual, it's a whole different energy. It's a whole different story. If I think of them, as victims, energetically, that money is like a stab in the back. See? It's like, oh, thank you, you're so generous, thank you so much. If that giving is like that, that's what we've really given to ourselves. It's like stabbing ourselves, saying that they're a victim. Everyone is exactly where they need to be, experiencing exactly what they need to experience. That doesn't mean to minimalize any suffering. It doesn't mean to minimalize it at all. The suffering is there because that's what we wanted. That's what we actually wanted. We might not know that we want that, and that's okay. That doesn't mean we have to go around telling people who don't want to know it, hey, you're suffering. You know why you have that. If there's no identifying with an I like that, you won't even find yourself rubbing people like that anyways. You can sense the energy. You can sense the energy. You can sense how you can sense where it is. You can sense the vibration when you're next to someone, when you're communicating with someone. If there's a willingness to feel what it feels like to be now. That's all. Feel what it feels like to be now. The body is a perceiving organism, not one bit real. Feel what it feels like. That's all. And then we can communicate. It's like the body's walls are broken down. Then we can communicate. Feeling how we feel, allowing compassion for all the feelings that arise. And then there's not this energy like something is wrong. And then all the giving can be a true giving. And who can we give to except ourselves? There's only one self, that's why. All gratitude goes to you. All gratitude goes to you. All hatred, all whatever, that's just an illusion. It has no meaning and no real effect. But we experience the effects of it as long as we're taking it as true. Okay? We can open up to seeing each other and our bodies. That's another one, clearly. Then there won't be conflict. There won't be trouble. Even when pain arises, there won't be trouble with it. Okay? And ultimately, there's no pain. There's no such thing as pain. So when we do find ourselves going through pain, the greater the awareness going through pain, the greater the gift. And what's awesome is every time we seem to get better at it. Every time there's a willingness, it's like a knack that develops. It's like, oh, there's pain. Oh, wow. Okay. You know that whatever the measure of pain is, the gift is going to be so much greater. The gift's always going to be well worth it. Well worth it. The thing is that most people at this point in time only, that means in my perception, don't see the gift. Don't see it. Because there's a protective mechanism of thought up that says, just is saying, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. If there's going to gratitude for it, that's where the gift can be perceived. So it's kind of like, keep your head up. And you know what? If you notice that you're not going to gratitude, if that's your experience that you're not going to gratitude, let that be okay. That's the quickest way back. Let it be okay. Whatever's not letting it be okay, that's not you. That's only arising in the space that you are. Everything can be okay with you. It's just a perception. It's information being perceived here from the body. Everything can be okay with you. Just right now. Just right now okay with you. Okay? Yay. Does anyone have any? Oh, mahalo. I love you, Molly. Thank you so much. Does anyone have anything else they would like me to talk about? Or anything like that? Thank you so much. I have so much fun with Wisdom Dialogues. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everyone being here. I really appreciate the group's light style. Everyone seems to have a nice, light, easy, fun, funny style. Thank you for hanging out with me. I love you. We're sponsored by Miracle Botanicals. That's our own family essential oil company. We love essential oils, and recently we've added Giant Arbor Vitae. That's Tree of Life, another word for it, and it is really amazing. It's also really economical price-wise. I always get stoked about that because it's like, you know, sometimes people go, yeah, but it's like the one you're telling me is awesome. It's like $100 for just this much, you know. Usually that's my taste too. But these Giant Arbor Vitae, it's powerful. It's awesome. I think you can get like a 10 mil for it for like $11 or something like that. I might be wrong about that, but I just remember seeing that it's really reasonable. Then we also added some sets, so in case people are getting started with essential oils. Yay! I have a couple blends too, Forgiving and Freedom. Those two blends are really great for smelling in the moment something is coming up and taking the attention. It's kind of like training the brain. I don't know how to put it, but you know, in my experience, just an uncomfortable or painful thought will come up, and go, oh, this is a great time to smell this. Let's smell this, and smelling it, and it just changes the sensation. You know, just smelling, even just smelling whatever you can smell, even if the essential oil isn't nearby, to just be like that. That's even that. It takes some attention away from the thought. But yeah, so the Forgiving and Freedom, recommended those to someone today, and those are coming up. So yeah, Forgiving might be really awesome for any one of you or any of your friends or who are doing the Me Too thing with a bunch of pain in their hearts. Forgiving, yeah. And Freedom is more like there's some uncomfortable mind patterns that you can see playing over and over and over again, and you feel like you're not getting detached from them, and just freedom. Yeah, just like it sounds. It's a little spicy. It's called Miracle Botanicals, Lisa. MiracleBotanicals.com. Okay? You can always ask me if you want to know. I love you all so much. You can join, if you're watching me on YouTube later, you can join Facebook /groups/Wisdom Dialogues, and you'll be invited to these online, and you can come and we can have convos. I love you so much. Mahalo nui loa, aloha, and a hui ho.